feeling like I'm Akademiks. Can't ride no wave.
When it rains, it pours. So now they're coming out with some more information. Check this out, chat. They said exclusive. This is 52 minutes ago. Shannon Sharpe was accused of choking a female coworker at Fox in a previous unreported incident. Sources tell Sports Rap Report. Sharpe's lawyers confirmed to FOS that an incident happened and say it was resolved by Fox. Sharpe denies that it was choking. Oh, boy. This is a tough thing. Give me 1 second. This is a tough thing for This is a tough thing to kind of really get through, right? So I see a lot of people asking, like, why would you offer $10 million, right? And some people feel like that's almost an indictment against him because that kind of shows guilt. Like, you know what I mean? These days, especially with the new wave of like sexual assault and stuff like that, shit, Diddy supposedly paid up and he went to jail. So do you think anybody's really going to pay up unless like you want it's some crazy shit? I think niggas is down to fight it. I mean, everybody seems like they want to fight it, but Shannon Sharpe came around and looked like he offered money. Now, there was a little bit different interpretation of why he may have tried to fight it. And his lawyer did release a press release. And they kind of try to explain why he would do that, okay? Check this out. So this was...
The lawsuit that was filed over the weekend against Hall of Fame tight end and media personality.
Now, they're going to speak from his lawyer's perspective because his lawyer kind of explains certain stuff to, like, the media. Supposedly it was a press conference. I couldn't find a press conference of just a lawyer speaking, but it's very important to know the lawyer that Shannon Sharpe went with. His name is Lanny Davis. Okay, Lanny Davis is a crisis manager. Okay, he's a lawyer. He's a consultant, a lobbyist, and many other things. Now, if we click on his Wikipedia, you're going to see a lot of things. His clients have been Harvey Weinstein. I think he's most notable, by the way, he's most notable for representing, you'll see here, Bill Clinton. So he lobbied on behalf of Bill Clinton, but also represented Bill Clinton supposedly for some other things as well. So this is the crisis manager that you hire when shit is going left, okay? Oh, the guy from Jersey. I didn't know that. So he's worked with politicians. By the way, I think he also worked with Trump. Oh, fuck. What the fuck? Hey, sorry. I think he also worked with Trump. Give me a second. Trump. Yeah. In 2018, he was hired by, he worked for Michael Cohen, who was Trump's attorney. So he was the crisis manager for Trump's attorney who got charged. Davis later represented Cohen when he pled guilty to tax fraud, bank fraud, and a violation of campaign finance laws, okay? Yeah, he's represented a shit ton of people, okay? And he's the person that Shannon Sharpe is going with. So Shannon Sharpe is going with one of the big dogs who have represented people even high up in politics.
Shannon Sharpe has been one of the biggest stories for anyone who follows the NFL. Everybody knows who Shannon Sharpe is. The allegations against him are, on their surface, troubling. And Sharpe's position is clear. It's all falsified, it's all fabricated, and it's all part of a broader effort to blackmail him. So, like many cases when a person of a high profile is involved, there's two components, two courts, the court of law and the court of public opinion. And it's become clear to me from the outset of this effort by Shannon Sharpe and his lawyer Lanny Davis to push back, a lot of what's being said is intended for the court of public opinion. And sometimes the strategies are going to be very different in the court of public opinion than they are in a court of law. All that matters in the court of law is the final verdict. In the court of public opinion, it's what people think, and they're going to make their decisions. They're going to come to their conclusions. They're going to have their impressions early on. So it's critical to move quickly to get people to accept your version of reality and to see it your way and to support you and your position right out of the gates. And that's a big part of what's happened this week. And that's important to this update in the Shannon Sharpe case. Lanny Davis,
that's the lawyer.
And you may know the name. He represented President Clinton back in the 90s when Clinton had some things going on. He represented Michael Cohen, the former lawyer for Donald Trump, several years ago when Cohen had some things going on. And now Lanny Davis is primarily responsible for this lawsuit against Shannon Sharpe. Davis had a press conference yesterday regarding the situation, and one of the big aspects of the effort to prevail in the court of public opinion comes from placing pressure on attorney Tony Buzbee and the plaintiff in the case against Sharpe to release the unedited tape of what Davis and Sharpe believe were edited into a snippet that suggests a non-consensual sexual encounter. They believe that the full tape, the full video, will show the proper context and that it was consensual. And there's a lot of pressure being placed on Buzbee and the plaintiff to produce, not just produce it, but to surrender it to an expert who can determine whether the edited version is real and whether the unedited version is authentic as well.
By the way, this isn't the lawyer. Just to let you know, this isn't Lanny Davis.
Now, to me, that's always been part of the PR play because, and I posed this question yesterday and Davis accurately answered it, he's automatically and absolutely entitled to get the unedited tape as part of the discovery process in the lawsuit. You submit.
So to kind of, I don't know if, sometimes I feel like people might be talking and you're not understanding it. Just because they're long-winded or they're talking just not a colloquial way like I talk. So there's a sex tape that they're going to plan to show to the jury, okay? In every case, you have to give discovery. So when it works in civil cases, so in a criminal case, discovery is from the prosecutors to the defense. The defense only has to reveal if they're bringing new things to the table, but basically you got to trade information that's going to be used in the trial. In a civil case, both sides have to trade what they have. So, for example, I want to see your phone records. Be like, well, I want to see your phone records. Y'all trade phone records. You get what I'm saying? Because in a civil case, it's like the idea of making a case or defending a case is kind of like almost very mutual, as opposed to when you're in a criminal case, all you got to do is defend yourself, and you really don't even have to put nothing forward. You just have to work against what they have against you. So Shannon Sharpe is saying, well, y'all have put out these messages or y'all have put out these recorded phone calls. We want the entire phone call, and we want to have our legal, or not legal, but tech experts make sure it's not edited. We want to make sure this is in full. We want to make sure this is the original copy. And again, they haven't really gotten that far in the court process, but they're basically saying we haven't gotten that yet, right? And I mean, technically, they don't have to get it yet, but obviously Shannon Sharpe wants it now to be able to, on a court of public opinion, be like, they edited that. You know what I mean? They don't have it yet.
A Rule 34 request for production, and you get it. You get it. They can't not give it to you, and if they've messed with it, that's another can of worms they're going to have to deal with. So putting the pressure on Tony Buzbee publicly now really does feel like part of this PR play. Why won't you release it now? Release it now. Show everyone. That's the problem, because they want people to think that there's some fundamental problem with the edited version, supposedly the one that differs dramatically from the unedited version. So that was a big part of the press conference yesterday. There were other things that were said, but the most important, and I was surprised when I first heard this. I thought Lanny Davis misspoke. Fairly early in the conference call, he mentioned that Shannon Sharpe, during efforts to settle the case before the lawsuit was filed, offered tens of millions of dollars to the plaintiff. And he used that phrase several times, tens of millions of dollars. And I, along with other people who were on the call, asked questions. And the way it worked was you typed your question in.
Okay. So it looked like the lawyer was talking and they were able to ask questions. Okay, so that's why he has exclusive. Okay.
Offered tens of millions of dollars to the plaintiff. And he used that phrase several times, tens of millions of dollars. And I, along with other people who were on the call, asked questions. And the way it worked was you typed your question in. You didn't actually verbally express the question. So you type the question, you send it, and you wait for them to answer it. Multiple people who were on that call asked the question of, is it tens of millions or is it 10 million? What's the number specifically? So eventually, after saying tens of millions several times, Lanny Davis said that Shannon Sharpe offered at least $10 million to settle the case. Now, I practiced law for 18 years. I was stunned by that because, and look, I know that within the...
What? I just missed that.
I, along with other people who were on the call, asked questions. And the way it worked was you typed your question in. You didn't actually verbally express the question. So you type the question, you send it, and you wait for them to answer it. Multiple people who were on that call asked the question of, is it tens of millions or is it 10 million? What's the number specifically? So eventually, after saying tens of millions several times, Lanny Davis said that Shannon Sharpe offered at least $10 million to settle the case. Now, I practiced law for 18 years. I was stunned by that because, and look, I know that within the confines of litigation, when you settle a case and you write the check and it goes away, part of the release agreement that you get from the plaintiff has language making it clear that we deny everything and the payment of money should never be regarded as proof of liability or admission of responsibility. Also, when the case is over, there's a confidentiality provision in there that prevents the plaintiff from ever saying what was obtained through this effort to settle the case. I was surprised that Lanny Davis was so candid about this because it cuts against the expectation and the idea and this effort to sell that it's all falsified and it's all blackmail and it's all extortion and I didn't do anything. Oh, but I was willing to pay $10 million. Now, the only way to thread that needle is to say, okay, well, it was pretty effective blackmail because he was willing to pay $10 million for something he didn't do, and she didn't want it. She wanted more. I just think that when you're dealing in the court of public opinion, it's not easy to spin those two plates. I didn't do anything. This is all falsified, and I offered at least $10 million, and she wouldn't take it. I think most people, this is my opinion, most people are going to hear those two facts, and most people are going to say, man, why would he offer $10 million if he didn't do anything? Doesn't mean he did anything. But when we're playing to the court of public opinion, I didn't do anything and it's all fabricated and falsified and I'm going to fight this tooth and nail. Oh, by the way, I offered $10 million before it started. It's a tough one to balance. And I expressed that yesterday in an item that I wrote at PFT immediately after the press conference ended. And I'm updating this now, number one, because I think it's an important development as it relates to the court of public opinion, because Shannon Sharpe and his lawyer want anyone who's listening to this to believe that he's blameless, and he has every right to shout from the rooftops, I did nothing wrong. And we're trying to be fair to everyone involved in this situation. And it's an interesting case because only two people know what the truth is. And there's not going to be a whole lot of evidence that I think is going to tip the scales one way or the other. But did hear from Lanny Davis after I wrote my item suggesting that it's difficult to reconcile. I didn't do anything with, I offered her $10 million, at least $10 million, as Lanny Davis said. So what I'm going to do... And
So it's not $10 million, it's at least 10. Wow.
I'm going to write this at PFT, and he wanted to post his own op-ed at PFT, and that's just not the way we do things. But I said, you send me a statement, and I'll look at it, I'll consider it, I might use some of it, I might use all of it, and in fairness to Shannon Sharpe and to Lanny Davis, I'm going to read the whole thing. right now. I'm going to copy, paste, no snarky comment, the whole thing at PFT later. But here's what Lanny Davis had to say in response to my opinion that it's difficult to reconcile Sharpe saying on one hand, I didn't do anything, and Davis admitting on the other hand that Sharpe offered at least $10 million to the plaintiff to settle the case before she filed suit. And this is all, until I say it's over, this is all from Lanny Davis, counsel to Shannon Sharpe. I strongly disagree with Mr. Florio's opinion that Mr. Sharpe's decision to pay Ms. Zuniga, who engaged in blackmail, a threat to publish private sexual activity unless she was paid substantial money, in any way infers that Mr. Sharpe was responsible for any wrongdoing, and certainly does not change his belief, and mine as his attorney, that Ms. Zuniga lied in her allegations in the complaint she filed and was responsible for an edited tape leaving a false impression of non-consensual sexual activity, and she has refused to allow that tape to be examined by an independent expert to determine whether she made any editing or deletions in the original tape that she secretly made during sexual activity with Mr. Sharpe. In fact,
wow. Okay, that's interesting. So, chat. So now we're getting some more info. So, because you know what I was thinking, I'm like, how green is Uncle Shay Shay? Chat. If so. One in the chat, if you're a dude and you've let a woman record you and keep the footage of you fucking her. So this is sex. If you've allowed a woman to record you having sex with her and she keeps the footage. Now, I know niggas might record them fucking a girl and you might send the girl the footage because y'all kinky like that. But you've let a girl record you, and still, one in the chat for all my chat queens, if a man has allowed you to record sex with them on your phone, that's kind of like a no-no. Like, why would you let the girl record y'all? What the fuck? For her purposes. So two is the other option. So two or any other number is if you don't let no woman record you having sex with her. Do you record her? Probably. But if she's recording you, that don't sound too right. Because I was thinking about it, I'm like, Shannon can't be that green. Why would he allow her to record him? He has so much to lose. She could get mad at him. She could threaten to do whatever with it. Then I started thinking about some other stuff. Maybe he pulled up to her apartment. Maybe she has a Ring camera. Maybe she's surveillance footage. But it's no way, like, she's like fucking selfie mode while Shannon is beating it down from the back. No way, right? Or she got a camera set up, and I know she's an OnlyFans model. Like, no way Shannon would allow that, right? So that's the confusion. How does she has a 10-minute video of him fucking her?
Way infers that Mr. Sharpe was responsible for any wrongdoing, and certainly does not change his belief, and mine as his attorney, that Ms. Zuniga lied in her allegations in the complaint she filed and was responsible for an edited tape leaving a false impression of non-consensual sexual activity, and she has refused to allow that tape to be examined by an independent expert to determine whether she made any editing or deletions in the original tape that she secretly made during sexual activity with Mr. Sharpe.
Secretly made? Now that's throwing me for a loop, chat. How did she make a secret tape? A secret sex tape? Huh?
And this is all, until I say it's over, this is all from Lanny Davis, counsel to Shannon Sharpe. I strongly disagree with Mr. Florio's opinion that Mr. Sharpe's decision to pay Ms. Zuniga, who engaged in blackmail, a threat to publish private sexual activity unless she was paid substantial money, in any way infers that Mr. Sharpe was responsible for any wrongdoing, and certainly does not change his belief, and mine as his attorney, that Ms. Zuniga lied in her allegations in the complaint she filed and was responsible for an edited tape leaving a false impression of non-consensual sexual activity, and she has refused to allow that tape to be examined by an independent expert to determine whether she made any editing or deletions in the original tape that she secretly made during sexual activity with Mr. Sharpe. In fact, Mr. Sharpe decided to pay the substantial blackmail money demanded by Ms. Zuniga for the same reason why many other innocent people subject to a blackmail threat decide, usually painfully, to pay the blackmailer for the same reasons Mr. Sharpe, having absolutely nothing to do with any admission of wrongdoing. In Mr. Sharpe's case, as in the case of virtually all other subjects of blackmail, the reason was primarily to avoid public embarrassment for himself and his family and other adverse consequences to his life and reputation. I respectfully suggest that if Mr. Florio take the time to do fact reporting and interview many others who made the same decision as Mr. Sharpe to pay the blackmailer and be able, based on fact reporting and not opinion writing, to demonstrate that most people who decide to play blackmailers do so without the slightest implication of admitting to wrongdoing or any worry about personal wrongdoing. He may also decide, in his own reconsideration on this subject, that there was nothing inconsistent in my statement that Mr. Sharpe denied the lie, that he did anything other than engage in consensual sex, and that the tape secretly recorded by Ms. Zuniga was incomplete, contained deletions or edits to mislead the viewer into a conclusion that the sexual encounter was non-consensual. I am disappointed. Mr. Florio admitted in his opinion piece my challenge to Ms. Zuniga and her attorney that if they claim there were no such deletions or editing of her secretly recorded tape, then she should give her attorney permission to turn it over to a neutral professional investigator to determine whether or not it was altered in any way.
All right. Now, let me help break down what's going on, chat. So what's happening here is that they're trying the Jay-Z method with like that Alex Spiro used. So they're asking like, oh, give us the tape that we could. If this goes to trial, you have to get the tape. You have to. If that tape is going to be somewhat evidence, you have to get the tape. Here's the thing. Shannon Sharpe is or was being, in this middle of this $1 million, $100 million deal. They're trying to debunk everything now. So how it works in court, you get to many different steps before discovery. You get to many different steps before discovery. So, yeah, you might get the tape, but you might get the tape 5 months from now, 6 months from now. By that time, public opinion already made up their mind. So that's why they're trying to do what Alex Spiro did, like almost rush the process, like, give us the tape now, give us the tape now, give us the tape now. The court, if they don't give that tape up to y'all, they can't use it in court. But here's the thing, because, and all these, all these lawyers that are like, we could call them ambulance chasers or whatever, but they know time is of the essence. They know right now, like, I could go look up that case in court. Didn't we look it up in court? Didn't I look it up in court, chat? This shit was filed in what court? Let me see. Because we did pull it up. Shannon Sharpe. Here we go. We got the complaint. Wait, what? No. Hold on. No, this ain't it. This ain't it. Is this it? Yeah, we got it right here. This was filed. This was filed in Vegas. Okay, yeah, this was filed in Vegas. If you guys are looking for the full complaint plus text messages are listed on Akademiks blog. All right. This is a complaint. It's filed in Nevada. I'll show you how I look up these cases if you're ever curious. How can I look it up? Nevada civil case search. I already got the case number. It's Clark County over there. Civil case search. You click on that. Oh, I might have to pay for it. It's all good if I do. Okay, enter the characters. MW. What is that? I can't tell. Okay. ZQXX, I think. Okay, we got the case number. The case number for this is What's the case number? The case number is A-25-917-246-C. That's the case number. Okay? So when you search that, of course it doesn't pop up anything. Oh my God. Or maybe I shouldn't put the hyphen. The hyphen might not need to be there. I think the hyphen they put in their own system. Let's try it again. Got to put this back again. 8PQ6. Oh my God, now I got to put this fucking case number back in again. I'm putting the right case number, right? Why is it not popping up? Search by defendant. We'll just do that. Sharpe, Shannon. Oh my God. This is MR48. I think that's an R, I believe. Search by defendant. Sharpe, Shannon. Okay, here we go. What is this? Shannon Sharpe. None of these are the joint. Oh, I think it's filed in a different court. The only reason I'm looking it up, and okay, this is township, so this is municipal. So municipal is not gonna have like a civil case like this. It's just gonna have like him getting parking tickets. So these are traffic tickets. You get what I'm saying? Now I gotta look. I'll look it up later. Oh, because it's in the 8th Judicial Court. Okay. So I ain't gonna waste our time by doing that. The reason why I was gonna do that is I was gonna show you the current status of the case. Bro, civil cases take a long time. Like, it takes a long time. So discovery is still not near. So when his lawyers is putting out statements saying, give us the videotape of that you secretly recorded, they're not going to give you the videotape, number one. Number two, they're also probably thinking about if, I don't know if, is Nevada a two-party state? I got to see. Like, first of all, it's kind of legal to just secretly record someone in sex anyway, right? But if it's under the yeah, it's very interesting. If it's at her house and she's recording it for, like, in some states, if you're recording bedroom activity to not commercialize and use, and that's why that whole idea of them calling out that, oh, they're about to put out a 30-second video, that would be an illegal thing that they could go after Tony Busby for. That would be breaking a law. That would be a crime. So this is why Tony Busby came back and said, we're not going to put out 30 seconds. We're going to just show it in court. Now, that's legal. There's like a lot of things to think about with this